I need to start this video off with a disclaimer. If you hear loud snoring and or snorting in the background of this video, I am dog sitting. I'm dog sitting. My friend's, he just snorted. I'm dog sitting for my friend right now. I have her dog with me for a whole week. He is the cutest. I love him. He's the sweetest little old man. But he is asleep right now, and that means that there is a very likely chance that you will hear him snoring at some point because it is so loud. So just know that if you hear that in the background, I'm sorry, or you know, not sorry, because it's a dog. But yeah, that's what that is. But anyway, welcome back to another video in the Versus series. The series, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this video. The series where I compare clinical psychology to other psychology and psychology adjacent fields in hope that it will help guide you in the right direction on deciding which path is the path for you. This is the third video in the series. In the first video, I compared clinical psychology to counseling psychology. In the second video, I compared clinical psychology to school psychology. I will link both of those somewhere on the screen so that you can check them out if you're interested. And today we are doing clinical psychology versus health psychology. As usual, I will be covering both similarities and differences between the two, and I will be linking all of my sources down in the description below so that you can do your own research. But first, hey, hello, my name is JoJo and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I gotta try to make this quick because I feel like his snores are getting louder. So excuse me if I start rushing through this video at any point. So we're starting again with definitions. As you probably know, clinical psychology's division within the APA is division 12. And as a refresher, I will be putting the division's definition of clinical psychology on the screen so that you can see it. I'm not going to read it again. Health psychology also has its own division within the APA, and that is division 38. So it is one of the relatively newer divisions, and while they do have their own website and they do in theory have a page on that website that I would assume contains the definition, their definition of health psychology on it, that page at the time of recording this video is not working. I tried it several days in a row, and every time I clicked on the link, nothing happened. I instead had to search various pages on the APA's website and see if they had a definition somewhere. And I was able to kind of throw together my own definition based on bits and pieces of information from different pages. So according to my consolidation of the information that was available to me from the APA, health psychology examines how biological, social, and psychological factors influence health and illness. Health psychologists use psychological science to promote health, prevent illness, and improve healthcare systems by studying how patients handle illness, why some people don't follow medical advice, and the most effective ways to control pain or change poor health habits. They also develop healthcare strategies that foster emotional and physical well-being. In other words, a health psychologist studies the link between someone's psychological health and their physical health. So the two fields are related, but they're also very distinct. If y'all ever knew how many tries it took me to get through that definition, y'all would never believe it. Y'all would never think that I got past 5th grade, because why couldn't I read words? Anyway, moving on. In terms of similarities, clinical psychology and health psychology kind of do share a lot. Professionals in both fields can go through doctoral training programs and get licensed. And if that is the path they follow, then they are both considered licensed psychologists. They are held to the same legal and ethical standards, and they can work in a variety of settings and practice either independently, privately, in group practice, etc. So with those kind of basic similarities covered, we're gonna get into the differences, which are a little nuanced, starting with education. So like I've said before, clinical psychologists are required to have a doctorate degree. Flat out, whether that's a PhD or a PsyD, you are required to have a doctorate degree in order to be considered a clinical psychologist. For health psychology, the minimum required degree is technically a master's degree. And in the cases of folks who only have master's degrees, you will be able to work under a licensed psychologist, either as a research assistant or as a counselor. That means that you are very limited in what you're able to do. If you do decide to pursue a PhD in health psychology, the key difference between health psychology and clinical psychology is the clinical training. Students in health psychology PhD programs are trained to become what are called behavioral scientists. And while they do often get experience working with clinical populations, this more often occurs in a research context rather than a clinical context. So in most health psychology PhD programs, you are training to become a researcher. That being said though, you can become a clinical health psychologist, also known as an applied health psychologist. And these do exist as like individual programs in some institutions. And in these cases and in these programs, your goal is licensure. So your doctoral training will include more clinical experience. And once you are licensed, you are able to provide clinical services to clients and patients. And that includes assessment, evaluation, consultation, and intervention. In terms of work environment, treatment, and population, as I mentioned previously, professionals in both fields are able to work in a wide variety of settings. These include colleges and universities, community organizations, hospitals, clinics, social service agencies, consulting firms, etc., etc., etc. The choice is really up to you, but know that as a result of your training, your role in each of these settings will be different. While a clinical psychologist may work every time, the snores get just a little bit louder every time. While a clinical psychologist may be working with clients and patients on improving their mental health and well-being, as a health psychologist, your treatment focus will more than likely be on things like managing weight and preventing obesity, pain management, helping individuals cope with, things like genetic diseases or chronic diseases, preventing rehospitalization, and planning out daily activities that promote their physical health. At the end of the day, clinical psychologists and health psychologists may work very closely with one another, depending on the setting and the kind of treatment that a client or patient needs, but they will have very different responsibilities in clinical settings. And it is up to you to decide which responsibilities align more closely with your interests and what your goals are. And remember that programs are always more likely to differ across institutions, so please do your own research and don't assume that all programs are the same. I have to end this video. I can't. So with that being said, thank you for watching, especially if you made it to the end. I truly appreciate it. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. And I'll see you in my next one.